Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Professor Kivutha Kibwana, the immediate former governor for Makwiny, is a disappointed man. Professor Kivutha Kibwana has been betrayed by William Ruto and Kenya Kwanza and has now been forced to quit politics. Professor Kivutha Kibwana will go in the history of this republic as probably one of the best performing governors in the country. And at the same time, he will also go into the history as one of those politicians who betrayed the cause of reform in the country. I want to explain to you why Professor Kivutha Kibwana is disappointed and how William Ruto betrayed him. Before we do that, in case you're watching this channel for the first time, I want you to take a second or two, click that subscribe button so that next time we produce a video like this, YouTube will automatically notify you. And to the subscribers, I want to continue thanking you guys for your continued support, because without that support, this channel cannot be where it is now. Let us go straight to the point, because today is a Sunday. I've actually prepared myself. From this, I'm heading straight to church. Who is Professor Kivutha Kibwana? Professor Kivutha Kibwana made his name during the clamor for multipartyism. And he became a member of parliament for Makwiny in 2002. He served for one term. Then after the 2007 election, he was appointed by Mwai Kibaki to serve as an advisor for constitutional affairs at the office of the president. Then remember, we had the promulgation of the new constitution in 2010. So in 2013, Professor Kivutha Kibwana decided to go and contest in Makwiny. Indeed, he was lucky and he was elected. And he served the people of Makwiny with dedication. And he proved that indeed the county government or devolution was working. Makwiny saw a lot of development during his time. In 2017, he repeated the same and won. In fact, there was a time when the MCS, because he was elected on a different political party in 2013, the MCS, who are majorly the wiper, tried to twist him. So when the election of 2017 came, almost all those MCS were defeated, but Professor Kivutha Kibwana remained. As we were headed for 2022 election, he joined the Azimio. But Professor Kivutha Kibwana and Alfred Mutua had a different idea. They could only stay where Kalonzo Musyoka is not. So when Kalonzo Musyoka remained with Raila Odinga, it complicated the equation for Professor Kivutha Kibwana. So after the election, Professor Kivutha Kibwana shocked Kenyans by joining Kenya Kwanza.
Kenyans have made a decision that their next president is, William Ruto. So going forward, I'm not in Azimio, I'm in Kenya Kwanza solidly. There is a job to be done in our country, and we need to go beyond, I'm from this party, I'm from this tribe, I'm this gender, I'm this faith and all that, and really get the job done. And if we restrict ourselves to legal niceties, if I will call them that, there's a huge issue to be resolved, and we really need to pull our socks.
The deputy president to start wooing people, enticing them to leave a coalition without the requisite legal provisions is either a display of impunity or gross ignorance of the law of the land.
Democracy, you cannot tell people that they must stay put in a particular formation. And therefore, people have the freedom, historically in our country, they have the freedom to move from, one coalition to another and so on.
Because for me, if it was a matter of quitting, the best time for Professor Kivutha Kibwana to have decided to make the move, for me, would have been immediately after the election. That he was going to serve his second term, Raila Odinga had lost, and therefore for him, he was quitting. But he didn't do that. Professor Kivutha Kibwana went ahead, penned some agreement with Kenya Kwanza, and they agreed. So he has been betrayed. And that's why he has decided to quit politics. I'm sure if there was no element of betrayal, Professor Kivutha Kibwana probably would still be active in politics. Before we get into further details, in case you're watching this channel for the first time, please take a second or two, click that subscribe button so that next time we produce a video like this, YouTube will automatically notify you. And to the subscribers, I want to continue thanking you guys for your continued support, because without the support, we cannot be where it is now. Let us get back to the main issue, and I want to make a request, please. For this particular video, just press that thumbs up. If you can share it with your friends. And the best is that you can also drop your comments, because from those comments, we learn a lot now. Why do you think Professor Kivutha Kibwana has decided to quit politics? 4 reasons or 5. Number 1 is betrayal by Kenya Kwanza. And that's probably the main motivation why he has decided to quit. If he had not been betrayed, probably Professor Kivutha Kibwana would still be active. Professor Kivutha Kibwana, after joining Kenya Kwanza, was supposed to join their legal team. Of course, from the background, probably he joined. But his expectation as a law professor was that he was going to stand and defend William Ruto's win. We never saw Professor Kivutha Kibwana in court. So probably that's where the betrayal began. Then after that, almost all political parties which signed some coalition agreement or post-election agreement with Kenya Kwanza, almost all of them have benefited. The only party which has not benefited is Muungano Party, associated with Professor Kivutha Kibwana. Amason King is now the Speaker of the Senate. Moses Wetangula is now the Speaker of the National Assembly. And they have their people. Alfred Mutua was made the Cabinet Secretary for Foreign Affairs. Professor Kivutha Kibwana was left hanging. Professor Kivutha Kibwana was left hanging there. So probably as a human being, he's not happy. Then the president went further and made some appointments to the permanent secretaries or principal secretaries. The name of Professor Kivutha Kibwana is still missing. Neither were some of his allies considered. So he feels very strongly that he has been betrayed. And that is why he has decided to quit. Second reason why he has decided to quit politics is because of political relevance. The moment Professor Kivutha Kibwana joined Kenya Kwanza, he had hoped that he was going to be relevant. But reality dawned on him that in Kenya Kwanza, they have UDA as a political party. And the chairperson of UDA comes from Ukambani. That is Johnston Ndonya Mudhama. So Mudhama is playing a key role for William Ruto. Then William Ruto made Alfred Mutua as a Cabinet Secretary for Foreign Affairs. What does that mean? Simple. He's now playing a key role again for Ruto. Then you go to Azimio. Azimio Kalonzo stamped his authority in Ukambani. As a matter of fact, in the last 2 elections, Professor Kivutha Kibwana was relevant. Number 1, because he was a governor. Number 2, he had his party, and his party had a few elected members of parliament. And of course, he could easily team up with Alfred Mutua, Charity Ngilu, to give Kalonzo Musyoka problems and to remain relevant. This time around, Kalonzo Musyoka stamped his authority. So as we speak, Ukambani is fully under the grip of Kalonzo Musyoka. And of course, William Ruto also understands that Professor Kivutha Kibwana's sell-by date has actually lapsed. He is no longer the Professor Kivutha Kibwana which Kenyans knew. As a matter of fact, politically speaking, Professor Kivutha Kibwana is no longer relevant. Number 3 is Ukambani politics. You know, you can only be relevant if you are playing some roles. You will look at Ukambani politics today. William Ruto is very keen on Ukambani politics. But that Ukambani politics, Professor Kivutha Kibwana is featuring nowhere. William Ruto would rather go to Ukambani through Kalonzo Musyoka. If not through Kalonzo Musyoka, of course, UDA as a political party managed to win some seats. So he has a bit of members of parliament there. Then you look at it critically, William Ruto is elevating Alfred Mutua to play the role for him. So in Ukambani, William Ruto will be checkmating Kalonzo Musyoka with Mutua. Why? Kalonzo Musyoka became a vice president of the Republic of Kenya, which is okay, but he served as a minister for foreign affairs. So probably William Ruto wanted to remind Ukambani region that Kalonzo Musyoka, the man you believe in, was once a minister for foreign affairs at a younger age. Alfred Mutua is still young and is already minister for foreign affairs. So it means if you can shift your loyalty to Alfred Mutua, then probably moving forward, he can become a future presidential candidate. So William Ruto would be selling Alfred Mutua as the future of Ukambani. That's why, despite the fact that Mutua and Kibwana are not in talking terms, William Ruto decided to elevate Mutua. So if Mutua is there, Mudama is there, he has a few other permanent secretary, I think another cabinet secretary, then where will Kivutha Kibwana help Ruto? Nowhere. So Ukambani politics, he has totally been sent into political oblivion. And number 4 is shame. You know, Professor Kivutha Kibwana was one of the first people to dump Azimio to join Kenya Kwanza. Then he has been disappointed the other side. So he had an option of coming back. Then how would he come back? Nothing. So he's carrying the shame. And that shame cannot allow him to continue sticking in politics, because he's been like, I'm here, I'm there. I'm there, I'm here. I'm here, I'm there. And lastly, I think Professor Kivutha Kibwana realized that being in Kenya Kwanza was likely going to erode his reform credentials, because reform credentials is the only thing which is now remaining with Professor Kivutha Kibwana. So he decided, okay, I've made mistakes, let me stick here so that my reform credentials are not eroded further. I don't know what you think. That's my take. In case you're watching the channel for the first time, please don't forget to press that subscribe button. Bye-bye for now.